Some people don't just want to push you down, push you out, or push you off. They want to tell you where to fall and how to fall too. Take my advice. Keep your distance and stay far from them.
Hello everyone, welcome to Jamaica 411. I'm your host, Michelle Stern. I'd like to say a special welcome back to my subscribers and the silent listeners. If you're here with me for the first time, welcome. If you have not yet subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. And everyone, please give the video a thumbs up from now on. Please go ahead, give the video a thumbs up. And of course, you're all free to leave your comments in the comments section. And of course, for your kindness, I want to thank you in advance. Now, with the preliminaries out of the way, it's now time for business. And what is the subject of business today? Yes, you guessed it. Mass Peter Bunting. When him now the senator make a fool of himself, him out and about in the constituency of South Manchester, talking about Prattville Primary. And of course, we at Jamaica 411 and all of you, the family of Jamaica 411, we are very observing people. Yes, man, we're very observant, as old time people would say. We see things. And what we notice is the emphasis that Peter Bunting is putting on the Prattville Primary and Infant School. And it caused us to draw certain conclusions. There are perhaps some 200 schools in the entire Manchester, and some number of them are in South Manchester. I am not quite sure how many. However, it would appear as though the only one that is in disrepair is the Prattville Primary and Infant School. Why do I say so? Well, I know that even you notice it, that it's the only school that Peter Bunting is talking about in the constituency of South Manchester. He's not there and thereabouts of other schools, pointing out all the problems in those schools. He's in one school, and therefore we can safely come to the conclusion that had there been other schools in South Manchester in any condition that is not conducive for learning for our children, he would have been there showing you them too. And so therefore, what Peter Bunting had effectively done is to prove to us that the schools in southern Manchester are in great shape and conducive to learning. We think that this is a massive achievement by the Ministry of Education, and we should congratulate them and thank them very much, the teachers, the technocrats, the region, and all those persons in our education ministry that made it possible. And of course, the Minister of Finance as well, who made the funding available so that our schools can be in the best shape they could possibly be given our limited resources. And so I hope you will all join me in congratulating the Education Ministry. And I think we should give an applause to Peter Bunting for having brought this to our attention. I would not have noticed it had he not come talking about Prattville. Would you have? You wouldn't know. When they were talking about the bad shape of education, you would have been under the distinct impression that the whole thing mash up. And here is Bunting coming now to more or less tell us in an indirect way that the Ministry of Education is actually doing damn good when it comes to southern Manchester. Hmm? Isn't this true? Yes. So, my thanks and appreciation to you, Peter Bunting, for having caused us to recognize that perhaps our education system is not as bad as we thought it was when you guys were talking about it, and that there is a lot of improvement with regards to the physical plant of the schools. All we now need are the results coming out of those schools. And I suppose with an environment in which the children can learn, we hope that we'll be seeing better results in all the exams, CXC, PEP, everything, reading, whatever it is that is put to the children as a form of test, we expect to see good results. Now, with that aside, and our congratulations to the Education Ministry and the Education Ministers, that will be Favour Williams in the first instance, and then Dana Morris Dixon, who is the current education minister, and to the extent that any previous ministers made a contribution to the improvement in the education facilities in southern Manchester, they too are to be congratulated. But let me not leave out some very important people, the stakeholders as well, and we'll be mentioning some of you guys, so you are not going to be left out of the congratulations that you deserve. So here is Peter Bunting. In an effort at damage control, decide to go back to the Prattville Primary and Infant School. Question is, did it help or did it make it worse? Well, let's find out.
Made an unannounced stop at Prattville Primary this morning. It's the 13th, Tuesday, the 13th of May. And as you know, there's been a lot of controversy around a statement I made in the Senate on last Friday. So I'm here at the school. I'm not disrupting anybody. I'm leaving the areas where students are.
Let me butt in here for a few seconds. I want you to particularly notice this building that he's showing. The camera is going to pan all the way from the beginning to the end of the building. That is the infant school. And this is the building that Peter Bunting said in the Senate that is crammed with the primary school children from grade 2 to 6. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If there are only one of each grades, then there are 5 classrooms in this section that he said is crammed, right? This is the infant department. So look at it closely.
So I'm here at the school. I'm not disrupting anybody. I'm leaving the areas where students are, leaving that side of the school altogether. And I'm just walking over to the new, newly refurbished classroom blocks. And here they are, locked up, windows and doors, nothing happening. That's evident. Let's walk downstairs because I hear there's been a bevy of activity since yesterday. And here we are on the ground floor, um, still empty, still unoccupied.
Now, this is a very, very interesting piece of information that Bunting has brought to our attention. And you know why? Because this was what I found on the Prattville Primary School's Facebook page. Now, as you can see, the space is used. It's the same location. Let's look again. Look at the back of the class. You see the coloring. Look at the floor and look at the lights above and the windows. You're going to see that it's the same space that Bunting is now showing us. Take a look at the space and you can scroll back and look at it more closely. You'll see it's the very same space. So that area is being used today. This was the examination of students at the Prattville Primary. I believe it may have been PEP that they were doing at the time. And so here the children are again assembled in the very same area. So it's being used evidently as some kind of auditorium, not as a classroom, perhaps because the partitions have not yet been installed.
When we go outside and you see the perspective, you'll realize that this is the major classroom block of the school. What is being occupied now is the infant department, and that's being occupied by grades 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The infant department. So you've less than 2 months to go in the school year, and you've spent the entire school year. These kids, the grade 1 and infant departments have spent the entire school year in the Assembly of God Church near the school. We're grateful to the church for accommodating them. We're grateful to the church for accommodating them.
Oh, so you're pretty up your language now. Before that, you were talking about whether or not they were being welcomed there by the church people. You remember in the Senate what you said? That they more or less overstayed their welcome. Basically, is what you were saying. So you know, pretty up your language.
When I'm advocating for the interests of students, it's not about politics.
When I'm advocating for the interest of students, it's not about politics. Is that so? Is that so really? It's not about politics. Well, let me ask you one question. Those with the primary responsibility for children would be the parents. Would you agree, Peter Bunting? Yes. And the secondary responsibility would be the teachers because they have the children in their custody during the time and they have responsibility to teach them. Which parent called you, Peter Bunting, to ask you to go into the Senate and advocate on their behalf because I'm having issues with the arrangements that the ministry made for them? Which parent? Did any parent call you and tell you that them have an issue with the arrangements being made for the infant children at the church? Did any of the parents of the children at the primary level who were crammed according to you in the infant section? Notice you didn't use the word cram on this tour. But did any of the parents call you as a representative and ask you to go on their behalf and advocate that what? What would they have done? Any parent at all or any number of parents? Did any of them call you and ask you to advocate on their behalf? Because remember, them in charge of the picnics. Their children are theirs. It's their responsibility to the welfare of their own children. And what I'm asking you, Peter Bunting, is a simple question. Did even one parent call you and first of all complain to you about the environment in which their child or perhaps children are learning in at the Prattville Primary and Infant School? Did even one parent? And if not even one parent complain to you, Peter Bunting, and ask you to put in a word for them, then it is politics. It is the only school you could find in southern Manchester to go and try and embarrass the government, so the government not doing enough for children. The only one. Because if there were more, you would have been there showing us the condition of the schools in southern Manchester. You're playing politics. It is about politics. And it is not about the welfare of those children. And I'm going to demonstrate for those people who are watching this video, as well as the people in southern Manchester, that you don't care two hoots about those children. It's all about politics and you trying to find yourself in the parliament. That's what this is about. Nothing else. And I will demonstrate it in no uncertain term to those people in southern Manchester. So anybody know anybody in southern Manchester? Please send this video to them and ask them to send it to everybody. Send it to them neighbor. Send it to everybody. Because there is important information here that they may not realize or they may not know.
It's for the welfare of the children here. And who wants to create misinformation, try and deny the facts, the realities? That's their business. We're continuing representation that myself and the PNP caretaker for the Grove Down Division started about a year ago, before Hurricane Beryl. We came, we stood right in this parking lot, and we pointed out the fact that before Beryl, the structure was literally rusting and crumbling away. Those who have attempted to discredit my statement that the ministry was tardy in the payment of the contract at Prattville Primary. Let me just respond to you by saying where I got my information. This is the ministerial statement delivered by Dr. the Honorable Dana Morris Dixon in the Senate last Friday. And clearly it shows in a table that's titled 2025-26 Carried Forward Maintenance Projects. They have Prattville Primary, proposed renovation to two-story classroom block to include re-roofing and structural repairs. Contract sum 29.6 million Jamaican dollars. Expenditure to date $18 million, or approximately 60% of the total contract sum. Status 95% complete. So this is the source they're now is attempting to dispute.
You know, Peter Bunting, Karen Cross, who knows you very well indeed, has been saying that there is something wrong with you. There is something wrong with you recently. And I'm of the view that perhaps the pressure of going back into representational politics and having to win a seat, which is really a PNP seat for years, but the PNP has been losing ground in that seat, as well as the Labour Party gaining. And you are now trying to wrestle that seat away from the Labour Party. But you have a problem. Everybody knows who you are and that you are a non-performing MP, and that's why they boot you out of Central Manchester. You lost your three-term seat and you did not feel you could go back there and win. Otherwise, you would not be in South Manchester. You're a deportee. So you have whole heaps of problems. Plus, the PNP people know that you are the cause of the reason why the party is in opposition. So you have your work cut out for you, master, and evidently it's getting to you. Because you're coming to talk about now that people are trying to do what? So that the figures that you just quoted are in dispute? They're not in dispute. Who is disputing it? It is what you said. You said that the contractor was not paid. Looking at the figures, not speaking to anybody at the ministry, because you just got the piece of paper before you and you thought that you needed to say something right away. You couldn't let the moment pass. And so you did a quick calculation, found that the contractor was only paid 60%, and you got up and you made your statement, drawing conclusions that if it is 95% of the work that is complete and only 60% of the money was paid, then that could be the reason why the contractor stopped the work. You didn't factor that there could be other reasons, and that's why you stood up and said what you said without any information to back you up. And then the contractor came out and embarrassed you by saying he got his money, right? He called the minister and said, "Me get my money." And the minister pointed out to you that even though you have that paper in your hand, the ministerial, what you call it, paper that the minister was reading from, it was dated April 28, 11 days before it was brought to the parliament. So within that time, the man got his money, and very likely the other persons too that were owed. And so you said something in the Senate that was not true. And coming to show the paper of where you get your information from, we already showed that in our previous video, that is where you got the information from, and not from the Ministry of Education or the contractor.
The minister's own statement, which I assume her information was provided by the technocrats at her ministry. Here are some 2x4s. Here are some partitions made from 2x4s and what appears to be plywood. There's no shortage of that in Jamaica. You can see for yourself. And let your eyes tell you the truth, regardless of what they're telling you. And we will continue our representation. And we will continue our representation on behalf of the school community of Prattville Primary and on behalf of the citizens.
Now, I want you to remember what he just said. And we will continue our representation on behalf of the school community of Prattville Primary and on behalf of the citizens. You heard that. Don't forget that, because we're going to come back to it again. Now, when I visited the Prattville Primary Facebook page, and you see that circle that I made with those 3 dots next to the message, you click on that. I want you to do it as well, right? Just to prove it to yourself. When you click on that, and then you select search, you then type in the keywords, and anywhere in that particular page that the keywords appear, it will pop up, even if it's in the comment section. And what I did was to put in names. The first name I searched that particular page for is Peter Bunting, and as you can see, it says, where you see that little spyglass, it says, "Sorry, we didn't find any results matching this search." In other words, not in the comment section and not anywhere in any post that was made to that page, the Prattville Primaries page in Facebook, will you find the name Peter Bunting. So they never mention his name at no time at all. Let's check further. Again, this time around, as you can see in the very top, I searched for the name Mark Golding. Remember, these are the 2 men that brought up the matter of Prattville, and said they are very, very concerned about these children and the condition in which they have to be studying and learning, right? So put the names in there and see if maybe, they had something to do with the school, because, these are some very rich men in Jamaica, right? So I put in Mark Golding's name, and as you can see, where you see that spyglass at the bottom, sorry, we did not find any results matching this search, which means there is no post on the page or any comments made in the comments section on any page where they mention Mark Golding's name. Yes, let's search further. When we searched for the PNP councillor candidate, Ronald Schloss, yes, we found him. Bingo, here he is. Let me make it a little bigger so you can see what it is about. It says, Read Across Jamaica Day Celebration. Read Across Jamaica Day celebration. So it was a celebration on a day they call Read Across Jamaica. We kicked off the day by recognizing our top readers through a special badging ceremony. We were also honored to have a group of stakeholders, notice the term they use, a group of stakeholders read to our students, including Mr. Ronald Schloss, Miss Tanique Barrett, Tantan Anna Barrett, apparently that's what they call her, Mrs. Valerie Reed, Mrs. Margaret Hunter, the Manchester Parish Council Youth Executive, and Mr. Gottschank, Marketing Manager of Manchester Cooperative Credit Union. Let's see who else they thank, and we want to thank them too, don't we? Yes, we do. They went on to say a big thank you to Mrs. Michelle Miller, our literacy coordinator, and her incredible team for planning and executing today's program. Together, we are fostering a love for reading in our school community. Here's to nurturing bright minds, one page at a time. I want you to notice what they refer to Mr. Schloss as a stakeholder. Pay close attention to these things, my people. Pay close attention. This is the PNP caretaker who ran in the election against the JLP Brown. I think her name is Isival Brown, and lost. And he's making himself useful. He went to the school and he read to the children. You see Peter Bunting name in there anywhere? No. And that is why on this occasion, yes, his name never pop up when we did the search because he was not there, evidently. And so, whatever concern he may have for the children, it clearly was not sufficient for him to turn up to read for them, evidently. Here we go again, another occasion in which Ronald Schloss' name appeared, and it was May 23, 2024. And I want you to pay close attention because this was Labor Day, right? Now, Labor Day 2024 at Prattville Primary and Infant School was a success. Now, listen to what they're saying now. Thanks to the dedication and hard work of our incredible team and community representatives, we extend heartfelt thanks to our head girl and Environmental Club President, Kimoya Williams. Congratulations, Kimoya. Gratitude must also be extended to Miss Shernette Madden, the teacher in charge of the Environmental Club. Miss Madden's guidance and support were instrumental in empowering our students to take ownership of the project and make a tangible difference. We extend appreciation to our community representatives, Councillor Isival Brown and Mr. Ronald Schloss. Their support and partnership were integral to the success of our Labor Day project. Thank you to everyone involved for your dedication, passion, and commitment to making a positive difference in our school and community. Uno see them mention Peter Bunting name there? No. With all his billions and the school in need, he did not make it on the congratulations list. Not him, but his councillor caretaker did, and so did the councillor. Okay, now, remember this now when I was Labor Day, May 23, 2024. Now, this was posted on the site 20 hours ago, but it may have happened before. It says, we are proud to welcome our newest sponsor for Transition Exercise Awards, the Selena Madden's Literacy Award. So there was a literacy award named after Selena Madden. A heartfelt thank you to the Madden's family for honoring the remarkable legacy of Mrs. Selena Madden in such a meaningful way. We also extend our sincere appreciation to all our existing sponsors. Look at the words. All our existing sponsors, your continued support helps us celebrate and uplift our students. There's still time to get involved. Join us as a sponsor and help make a lasting impact, right? So this is what they had on their page. You see where it says Selena Madden Literacy Award, and on the right in green, you see a long list of persons. Let's go see what that is about. Now, you will recall where they said in the post, we also extend our sincere appreciation to our existing sponsors. And then they went on to say, your continued support helps us celebrate and uplift our students. These are the sponsors, right? And on the top of the list is a Mrs. Burton Reed. We want to congratulate them, right? Yes. So we want to congratulate everybody whose name is mentioned here. And we are going to look and see whose name are on and whose name is missing. Who is showing concern for those students, the community, and citizens of Prattville and Prattville Primary and Infant School. Yes. So these are the sponsors that the school is showing appreciation for. Mrs. Burton Reed, Hubert and Pura Burton, Mrs. O'Blake, Mr. Ainsley Marshall, Mr. Fitzroy Golding, Mr. Ransford Williamson, Mrs. Alberta, how is that name pronounced? Is it Scaffe or Scaff? And Miss Diane Scaff or Scaffe, Mrs. Maureen Clear, Mrs. Sharon Gilzine. Wanna see Bunting and Mark Goling name there? No. Let's look on. Then there's VMBS. Yes, VMBS. Mrs. Zoe Scaffe, King and Golding, Jamalco. Make a note of that. Make a note of Jamalco, please, because that is going to come up later. Right? So Jamalco is also a sponsor. Councillor Icival Brown. Yes, she's also a sponsor. Member of Parliament. Who is a member of Parliament for South Manchester? That is Robert Chin. Mr. Devon Scaffe, Mr. Lennox Brown. Make a note of those people. The councillor, that is Icival Brown, as well as the MP, who is Robert Chin. They are sponsors and contributors to this school, the Prattville Primary and Infant School. We are still looking to see if we see Mark Golding or Peter Bunting's name in it, because these guys are very concerned indeed about the welfare of the students, the community, as well as the citizens of Prattville. And here we now have Mr. Leroy Wright, Mr. Kirk Williams, Cranston Dennis, Nodley Manning, Nordalia Crawford, Brianna Mackenzie, Mr. Arthur Williams, UNNA, Mr. Wayne Merchant. We still have not yet seen Peter Bunting's name or Mark Golding's name among this list. What's happening? Well, we still have more to go, so let's be patient. This is the last page of the list, so if the names aren't there, well, it says UNNA, Mr. Wayne Merchant, MCSALS, Elsie Durant, Ronald Schloss, Councillor Caretaker. Yes, the PNP Councillor Caretaker is also a sponsor. Bishop Mervyn Harding, Selena Madden, as well as Fontana Pharmacy. So these are the list of sponsors that the school mentioned. And I don't see Peter Bunting name in there yet. And I don't see Mark Golding's name either. And it's a curious thing because Bunting is very much concerned, and he's going to be advocating and representing the school community of Prattville Primary and on behalf of the citizens. And you mean to tell me that the man couldn't send $1 go give them? A billionaire like this? Yes, him don't have any constituency fund to donate, but where is Schloss getting money from? Or whatever it is that he's donating to the school. Where is he getting it from? He's not a counselor. And yet he's making a contribution to the school because he cares. Giving him the benefit of the doubt, of course, as well as the other politicians who are making a difference in the lives of those children. Whatever their motivation, it doesn't matter. They're doing something. Bunting is claiming out of his own mouth that him care and he's doing not a damn thing, at least not in this instance. But maybe they did get something out of him, so let's check on. Now remember that Bunting is coming from central Manchester. The question of when he actually took up the position of caretaker, MP caretaker for South Manchester, is what we're about to find out. Bunting confirms he will contest Manchester Southern for PNP, and what was the date? January 24, 2024. That's when it was published in the Observer. And according to the Observer, former Member of Parliament Peter Bunting has confirmed that he will be contesting the Manchester Southern constituency at the next parliamentary elections for the People's National Party. For months, there has been speculation that the former Manchester Central MP was headed to the neighbouring constituency of Manchester Southern to challenge the Jamaica Labour Party's Robert Chin. Now, when he announced that he was going to represent the seat, who in that constituency elected him? The PNP has a constitution that says that it's the group members who are the ones who are supposed to select those who it is they want to represent them. That's what the constitution says. Right? And even in circumstances where there is no executive for the constituency, it is NEC who would make the selection, but that is only after they consult with the groups on the ground and they make the decision as to who they want, and then the NEC would do the work of what the executive would normally do. That's the party's constitution. Who in southern Manchester sent Carl Bunting? Was he put before a selection committee? No. He was just parachuted into the constituency, and the people were told that, I'm going to represent you. No democracy. So that was when it was announced that he would be the representative. It was January 24, 2024. All right. So having parachuted himself into this seat, because remember, he's a leader, you know. Now Mark Golding is only there warm in the chair. Bunting is the one that is making the selection of the candidates. Bunting is the one that's a part of the group that is removing candidates as well. Right? So, I am the leader. Everybody knows that. I don't know nothing. He has to be taking his instruction from those who do, to some extent. And that is Peter Bunting. Right? Now, it says, Prattville Primary School, Bunting calls on Ministry of Education to address the dilapidated state of Manchester School. All right, let's see what that date was. According to the Observer, this was published by the Observer May 23, 2024. You recall that date? Yes, that was the date of the Labor Day project. There you go. And this was the Labor Day project where the councillor caretaker Schloss and the councillor's name was mentioned. The Observer went on to say, People's National Party representative for Manchester Southern, Peter Bunting, says the deplorable conditions of classrooms at the Prattville Primary School pose a risk to students, even as he called on the Ministry of Education to swiftly address the issue. Prattville Primary is located in southern Manchester. Listen to this part. Bunting, who was among volunteers at the school on Labor Day, said classrooms at the institution are dilapidated. And then they're quoting him now. We contributed cement for the Labor Day project, to do patching in the schoolyard. We also got an opportunity to do a tour of the facilities, the dilapidated state of the plant and buildings. Some sections, particularly the infant school section, it looks like Chichi alone is holding up the partitions and some of the doors. He said he went there and him see these conditions, right? I'm reading this for you for a reason. I'm reading it to you for a reason. So listen up. And this was the condition of I think he said it was infant school. It says here the roof at Prattville Primary in southern Manchester. So as far back as May 23, 2024, Peter Bunting was at the Labor Day events at the school as a volunteer. Don't know what he was doing apart from claiming that we donated some cement to do the patchwork, and this was the condition that they found the classroom in. Right? See the ceiling? Yes, they're quoting him again. He's pointing out all the problems that the school had, right? In the main block for grades 3, 4, 5, and 6, that's the one that he was showing us recently, yes? The corrosion in the steel structure is reaching to the point where the actual load-bearing capacity of these beams and columns must be in question. Look like it's won't fall long. Grade 6 is a disgrace. The roof is leaking. In fact, the students have had to be removed from those classrooms for the last 2 terms. And quite frankly, the hazard of electrocution of students is extremely high because the water is pouring into the roof, into the electrical panel, into electrical conduits, and it is purely by the grace of God that a child hasn't been hurt or killed in an accident, he said. He went on to say, I am calling on the Minister of Education to, as a matter of urgency, address the conditions of the school. We owe it to the 200 and odd children who attend this school on a weekly basis, added Bunting. He also criticized the management of resources for communities to benefit from the bauxite alumina industry. That is what I want you to hear. Listen to what the Observer said. And here they're quoting him. When you consider the value that has been extracted by the bauxite or alumina industry from the communities surrounding the school, it is absolutely unacceptable that this is the condition of the school today. I wanted you to hear that. He is saying that these communities where the school is located, the bauxite company is mining and making millions of US dollars off the soil that is around these communities. And he's saying the fact that the school is in that dilapidated state is unacceptable. Unacceptable that the bauxite company has not done anything about it. They have not volunteered to go in and fix the schools or do anything at all. That's what he's saying. He was saying, yes, the ministry fell down on the job, but then there is a bauxite company and they make enough money off of we. How it is that they did not voluntarily spend some money to fix up the school. That's what he's saying. And as you can see from my search, and you can do your search yourself, he himself, who is seeking to represent that constituency, a billionaire many times over, telling us of the success of his business. Him and Mark Golan talk about how them business proven successful and how them done make them money already. And the school has not, to this day, 1 year later, right? This is now May of 2025. And yet in all that time, the school not even once ever tell Peter Bunting thanks. Not a dollar did he contribute to the school. He is rich. He went there and he saw the condition of the school. And it's one thing to criticize a ministry because it's a government school and therefore it's government problem. But when you turn around and criticize the bauxite company, Jamalco, who was a sponsor of the school, saying that they did not do anything about it and them a benefit from the area by mining, they have no responsibility or duty. They are taxpayers and they pay their taxes. But you think that they should have because them have the money. That's why you suggested it. And yet, Jamalco was mentioned by the school as one of their sponsors. But you, a very rich man, you have not donated not even 1 red cent to that school. And you talk about we donated some cement, and yet the school never knows that you was part of the donation. Hmm? The person that donated the cement or brought the cement to the school was the PNP caretaker, Schloss. And evidently, Mr. Schloss must have been very wicked because it looked like he never tell the school, say, are you send the cement come? Are you buy the cement and send it come? So he took all of the credit for himself. And he must have seen when the school put up his name and thank him for being a sponsor. And he must have noticed that they never mentioned your name, and yet he never corrected them. So talk to us about that. So when you're going to come and talk about, we will continue our representation on behalf of the school community of Prattville Primary and on behalf of the citizens. I will say it for them because I'm sure they can't say it. Take your representation and shove it, you hypocrite. You are there criticizing the bauxite company for not doing anything about the school, and the school never tell you thanks yet? And you're talking about, say, you will be advocating on their behalf, and it's not about politics? You take with a big head, bud? It's all about politics for you. And you don't care nothing about those people, and you don't care nothing about the students, and you don't care nothing about the citizens. You only want to get in the parliament to take over from Mark and become leader of opposition. That's all you care about. And I want you to send this video to the folks in Manchester South and let them know that this is a man who should never be allowed to go into a parliament. Make the PNP people them know and him why we in opposition. Deliberately undermine and sabotage the party in order to elevate himself into the seat. And the people in central Manchester, the PNP people, them stay home and make him lose the seat. And uno stay home and make the other riser, Michael Stewart, lose the seat. Uno go and stay home again and make him go home. When him lose this time, him have to go him yard. One more election cycle. That's all. One more election cycle. Stay home. Do not go out and vote for this man and put him in our parliament. The man is wicked. The man is evil. He's a user. And it don't mean you or anybody in this country any good. The only thing that Peter Bunting cares about is realizing his own personal ambition, and he does not care who he has to destroy and what he has to destroy in order to accomplish it. This is not the characteristic of a good man, a man that is going to go into the parliament and advocate on your behalf. He's not there for you, he is there for himself and nobody else. So take sleep and mark death. That's all I have to say today. Thank you for joining me.